What is up, YouTube? It's Corey. Decided to stop procrastinating and just make this video for you guys. So today is going to be the story of how I tore my ACL. I wish I would have done this video before I actually tore my ACL and had the surgery. So this is the surgery aftermath. So I have my ACE wrap here and my T-ROM brace, I think is what they call it. But I'm going to have another video going over what that surgery is like in a couple of days after that. Today's really just going to be the story of how I actually tore it and then leading up to the surgery as well, not really the day after surgery. So a few weeks ago, I tore my ACL playing basketball. So I really think it's important to let you guys know what that felt like. It was really, really painful. So I was playing basketball. It was actually my fourth time playing basketball that week. Was playing basketball outside. I normally don't play outside. I play inside at the local high school. I played, I should say, about three times a week. And this was my fourth time playing outside at a park around here, and I'm driving to my right. And as I start driving to my right, I go to cut back to my left. And as soon as I plant my right leg, my ankle kind of rolled over and the bottom portion of my leg caught and stayed. And then the top part of my femur kind of rolled over. So immediately I felt this like crazy amount of pain in my leg, and I wasn't really sure what happened. So the first, I would say like 3 seconds, I think my body was just trying to figure out and diagnose what happened. So I fell immediately, and I kind of went there, went to the ground and was holding my knee. And for the first 3 seconds, I was kind of just like, what happened? And then right after that 3 seconds happened and passed, I felt an excruciating amount of pain. So I was on the floor for probably 2-3 minutes, just writhing in pain. And I knew something was wrong immediately. And then I was kind of sitting in the middle of the court, so I was like, all right, I should probably get up. So I went to, everyone was like, all right, here, let me help you up. I said, nope. So I went to stand up by myself, and I could not put any pressure on my knee. So I had a bunch of my buddies like walk me over to the side. There, I sat down, and I could tell something was really wrong. It just kept getting worse. The pain kept getting worse. Pain kept getting worse. So I was with a friend of mine, and I called my wife and just like, hey, we have to go to the ER. Something's definitely wrong. I wasn't thinking it was a torn ACL by any means. I just thought it was maybe a bad sprain of my knee or something. I don't know. I really didn't have any idea of what it was. So we get to the ER. ER takes x-rays. The x-rays come back negative. He said there was a slight... basically, he said that he saw some stuff on the left side or right side of my knee, and his diagnosis was that I sprained my LCL. At the time, I wanted to be like, sir, I know you're a professional, but I know I did more than just sprain my ACL or my LCL. He didn't bring up ACL or anything like that, and just said, I think that you might have sprained your LCL. I was like, I did more than that, but whatever. So he rushes me into the doctor the next morning, and I get first priority for some reason. So I had their first appointment, which is like 8 o'clock that next morning. I go in, and it's actually a doctor I play basketball with. So I play basketball at the high school, like I said, the local high school, and he is a doctor there. It just so happens to be that's who I got. So he's like, hey man, he does all this test, and he does the ACL test, and he is concerned that I tore my ACL. And I'm like, yeah, I don't think that's right. I mean, you're a doctor, but I don't know if I did that. He's like, I'm concerned you did that. He said, based off of what you told me happened, if that is what happened, most likely you tore your ACL. He said it'd be pretty much impossible to not tear your ACL. So I go get an MRI a couple days later. And luckily, since I know the guy, he rushes the results. So I get my results back probably 3 hours after I do my MRI. He calls me. He's just like, hey, buddy, bad news. You did tear your ACL and you tore your meniscus. I was like, okay. I go in to talk to the surgeon about surgery and what my options are. And basically he goes and says, oh, it's actually worse than what you were originally told. You ruptured your ACL. So he said there was an explosion in that ACL. So a tear, I guess, if these are the fibers, would just be like this. An explosion is where the ACL actually literally ruptures. So that was worse than what I thought. He also then said I tore both my meniscus in my knee, so the front or the side, the interior one and the exterior one. On the exterior one, he said it looked like someone took a pair of scissors and cut. So that was rough. They scheduled surgery. From there, it was pretty non-painful. I would say the first 3 weeks I was in a decent amount of pain, and then I would say the week before surgery, so a couple weeks before that, I was on crutches full time. Then I went from crutches to one crutch. Then I went from crutches to a brace and a crutch, and then I went to just a brace, and then I went to no crutch, no brace the last week before surgery. So this is all in 4 weeks, and 4 weeks kind of broke down. Full crutches, one crutch, crutch and a brace, and then the week before I was nothing, which was really nice to be able to get around the last week of surgery. So day of surgery, I drove into the hospital because I knew that was going to be my last time driving for a while. So I drove into surgery day, and I drove in knowing this was going to be my last time driving because they said about 6 weeks. I got to walk in without any crutches. You can kind of see here I'm not really limping or anything. Luckily, like I said, I was pretty much without pain the day before and the day of surgery. So I walk in, I was at OSS, and from there they brought me to the back and they strapped me into my gown, got my IVs in. Pretty painful process was they put a nerve blocker in, so that wasn't really fun. They shot a couple needles into my groin and into my hip. Then they took me back to surgery. I will say I woke up in a crazy amount of pain after surgery. I don't think the nerve blocker worked the way it was supposed to. And then after that, I came home, and this is kind of where you see me now. I've been just with my leg up, my knee up, and just not really enjoying life. I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty painful. You gotta make sure that you're staying positive and you're keeping your spirits up. So I'm trying to do things like this YouTube video, and just doing stuff to make sure I am staying as positive as possible. Biggest thing that I've been dealing with is nausea and a lot of pain. So just getting through that stuff. But then 24 hours after, I was able to get out of the bed for the first time and kind of walk around on my crutches. This is the first time, 24 hours getting out of bed. So I'm not allowed to weight bear or anything. First time leaving the room in 24 hours as well. So that was a good time. And then I was able to shower. So my surgery was on Tuesday. I was able to shower on Friday, so that was fun. And now here we are today. I'm going to go over a couple things I've been